All right. Welcome everyone to Game 2 between Hebinx and T. I will be your host tonight or today or this evening, whichever time is at your place right now. My name is Artea and I'll be commentating for this game. We just had a game 1 that was extremely close. It was a 16 shards run. This time around, we're gonna have a 30 shards run, so as a reminder, there is 40 shards in total, so it's about 3 out of 4 they need to get. We're gonna probably see some much different style of routing this time, so I'm I'm pretty excited to see how all of this will be going on and the routing of both runners. So in the tourney we have shuffled the resists as well as Chaos Spellbook. So we'll be looking at some of those important stuff. At first, for the resist and weaknesses, we have fire and water, so flare is not gonna be extremely good except for wyvern. Oh, we have a very early river coin here. This is nice. It gives a lot of possibilities in order to maybe fade some things early on. We have a white and a meteor, which is pretty good. Talking about meteor, Earth was rolled over fire, so it's gonna be a pretty decent spell. There is some stuff that resists it between other wyvern, but we already saw that wyvern was weak to water and flare rolled on it, so if they get both, it's gonna be fine. As far as elements go, so the two more relevant usually are stone and paralysis. Stone was rolled over sleep, so it's not great, and paralysis was rolled over confusion. So if we do not find exit anywhere, it could be an option to try and keep Stone Golem busy while just chain paralyzing it. For companions now, we have Kylie with a Blizzard Book, which can be decent extremely early, but it's not great. And exit at level 22, it's a little late for it to really do anything most of the time. Tristan has Flare, Cure at 18, and that's about it. Phoebe has about nothing, Flare at 31, but there's no way we're gonna see that happening. And Ruben has Flare at level 9 and White at level 20. So there's no meteor there, which means the DK fight will have to do without any kind of good damage from the part of the companion. So we'll see what we will have. Probably that Tristan is our favorite here, not really for the flare, but more for the chain paralysis and some golem maybe, as well as cure. Since he has cure and a lot of speed, Tristan is one of the most speedy boy out there. It might really be the best companion for the job. So, going back right now, we have a Gaia armor that has been found on Hebinx's side. We have a Apollo helm that has been found for T. Both are routing the stuff quite differently, but I'm really not concerned as far as probably both runners will run both of those locations pretty early. There's just too much density in Lava Dome, especially when they have the bombs. I mean, the bombs doesn't change much, but there's one way that is blocked, and if it randomizes from the back, you can just blast it. So I would probably also route that pretty early. Volcano is always in the forest, or almost always in the forest region, because it's pretty dense, as well as having quite a lot of stuff early on. and it requires absolutely nothing to clear. The only check that is gated here is the Medusa check, which requires to go through the Medusa bus. Almost nobody runs that ever. Maybe this will be a commentator's curse and there's gonna be something good there, but it's still gated behind both Sandcoin and Rivercoin. Speaking of Sandcoin and Rivercoin, we have T that already has both of those, and Hebinx will also have both of those pretty soon, since the Sandcoin was here in Volcano, which means that Medusa is indeed in Logic now. So we'll see what they decide to do. I don't think we'll see a Medusa fight early, but well, you never know. So we have T that had the sword. Hebinx also had it, and he's heading into Ice Pyramid. What's a little dangerous about Ice Pyramid? There's the Sandcoin. What's a little dangerous about Ice Pyramid is the fact that there's quite a lot of chests, not that many, but 7 chests in total, just behind the room that T is right now, and that requires a claw to go through. So in the vanilla, not the vanilla game, but the vanilla rando behavior, when rooms are not randomized in the dungeons, there's that particularity that if you go down there and you do not have exit, you can be stuck without the claws. So the rando made it such as you cannot just drop down that hole without the claws. It was not removed, even though that this is no longer the case when we have Dungeon Shuffle. So the room that you require the claw is not there, it's shuffled among other rooms, so but you still can't drop there. Therefore, what we saw T do is just drop down and not go to the pretty, I'd say, dense part immediately after. So if there's something there, they'll have to come back after the claw, after having the claw. So that's really maybe the only thing that could make not that early pyramid be something. At the same time, they both have the mirror, so it's much less. Here's the room with the claw that I was talking about. There's much less encounters that they'll just stumble upon and have to redo on their reclimb, so it's not that bad. And since it's in the Foresta region, it's early, it's pretty easy to get, it's pretty easy to get through. So yeah, I think that Pyramid is very likely the play here as well before moving on to the Sandcoin and Rivercoin regions. So, talking a little bit more about Ice Pyramid, it's one of the places that have the most density. It's kind of branchy as well. One good thing that we just saw is that Ice Pyramid, the entrance rolled on the vanilla entrance, which is pretty nice because there's gonna be it's a lot of branches and rooms that are gonna be randomized from the main hub. So it's much faster to navigate through. When that hub is much farther, it's usually a little more annoying to dive back to. The runners here will have to remember which room, which door gives to the one that Hebinx just went. Because if they need to come back later, which is likely, with 30 shards, we pretty likely will see a redive on Ice Pyramid. I think. We'll see. But I expect it. They need to remember which room it's there in order to just be able to come back later on. Alright, so as I said, T just went into Lava Dome, which is a very dense location. I'm not surprised. And probably that after that we'll be seeing both runners once Hebinx is done with Pyramid and once T is done with Lava Dome. We'll probably see them moving on to either the Sand or River Coin regions. I'm kinda curious on where they'll head. And one thing that Hebinx did the last game, we'll see if they'll do it again, is looking for ninjas or any encounter in Doom Castle beforehand. At 30 shards, it's not that interesting a strat because you will very likely get high level enough just getting the shards. But at the same time, it can let you decide a little more where to head. So sure, Aquaria might be a little faster because the monsters are much weaker, but at the same, oh, here's Phoebe, which really didn't roll anything. That's really interesting. So hi Phoebe, bye Phoebe. So will we see a scouting? Yeah, we do. So he's gonna just check if is there a ninja fight or any encounter. There's one. All right. They're gonna also check, since they are there, the two chests that are here. There's one in the Sun coin at the Vanilla Arrow, so he'll be able to do that as well. I don't dislike scouting that. It prevents them from just go and scout it when they go through at the Sun coin, and as well scout the monsters. So now that they know that there's a monster, but it's kind of far, there's no real reason to try and avoid Windia. When the Fireberg is also kind of okay for XP, so we'll see how he does that. There's our Tristan, deciding to just skip on Tristan. So I'm not sure about skipping on Tristan. Maybe Hebinx wants to keep Ruben in order to have the white seal that is at level 20. That's pretty much the only good spell that the companion have for Dark King. And we have T here scouting, checking if there's more or less density either in Sand Coin or River Coin. We're seeing, are we gonna see Crab? Maybe we'll be seeing Crab here. That's a little interesting. Probably I wouldn't do that. There's Quake. Best spell in the game? Not. It's pretty much the worst one, and you can't even single target it, so unfortunately it's pretty bad. Oh, T is hesitating here. Alright, so we're gonna see Ruben. That's interesting. Maybe they're keeping it. They're keeping him mostly for his weapon. Axe did randomize into Axe, so it's not that great. Yeah. That's interesting. Alright, well, we'll see how that plays out. So yeah, we're seeing a Krabby here. So when I was talking earlier that indeed we will have much different routing options, that's what I meant. Crab, when you roll on a low amount of shards, there's very, very small incentives to just run Crab. It's almost gonna be a dud, so... Or I mean, even if it's kind of good, most of the time you can skip around it, so you just do. Like most other bosses. At a 30 shard count, you don't have that kind of flexibility, so probably that Hebinx thought, crab is easy, I can just go through that, it's gonna be fine. And we have a P-tower that is locked. I didn't see if there was a bigger hub before in P-tower, but I think there wasn't. It was always a direct path. Yep, quite a long one at that. So yeah, P-tower is indeed really locked. Oh well. We have T going into crab again. Oh, that's really interesting. Oh, okay, that's one mean eye there. So for information, what arrow did roll on? Arrow rolled on pulley, so that won't be very effective against them, but it's enough to kill them. Arrow is one of the best spell in the game. It's the best black magic spell. Air elemental, it's also the only air elemental spell that the players can run, and that was found at crab. That's an okay fine. So indeed we are seeing crab on both runners. Okay, that's really interesting. I like that. And Hebinx did the same as T, went into P-tower. They have the bombs, so yeah, there is some possibilities that the claws lock them. But at the same time, with bombs, you very likely want to check it out. At least because there's a lot of chests. If I'm not mistaken, there's 16 or 17 chests. Well, 17, I think it includes Pazuzu's chest that will almost never happen here. The bird is being the bird as usual, so yeah, we'll just leave him there. And we're seeing both runners having finished the Sandcoin region, the Aquila region, heading pretty much at the same time into the same temple as well. Both kept Ruben. So Ruben having that flare and will have white at level 20. That's still pretty far, but at the same time there is not a much incentive using white over flare most of the time. There's some situations where it is, but it's kind of rare. And we have the Mobius. That might be a way to back, and the Dragon Claws. So Dragon Claws in that seed isn't great because Stone rolled on sleep. There's quite a bunch of mini bosses that are weak to sleep, but most of the time you just don't want to fight those bosses, although maybe they'll prove me wrong. We'll see. And T went into the Mobius warp there, ended up in Windia, which is, I think, confirmed in the Windia region. Might be on the ledge. I didn't see, so we'll know that pretty soon, I'm sure. Thunder Rock, Megas and Foresta. That's interesting. It's alright damage. Also seeing Thunder Rock here. And T not switching Thunder Rock. Suncoin. And indeed, Windia was in the Suncoin region, so not Vanilla, but in the Vanilla region. At the same time, their Suncoin isn't in that region; it's in Foresta, so they are gonna be fine. Hebinx skipping and the warp is gonna be fine. It's gonna be a little slower maybe, but at the same time he'll have the opportunity to do one more check there. Meanwhile, T is going into 3. He has the Dragon Claws, he has a sword. There isn't really a lot of regions to skip on that unless he's worried about the fights. So they are still quite not incredibly high level, but 3 has... Oh, Alright. Both of them aren't extremely high level, so the fights there can be quite hard. We'll see how that goes. We'll also see if Hebinx decides to head in there. It would be a decent choice. We'll also see if Hebinx decides to Thunder Rock, because Thunder Rock gives boat, and boat is actually open here if they can find where it is. I think Hebinx did not check those chests. I'm not sure. Yeah, he probably did. So yeah, if the boat is indeed locked behind Libra or Gemini Crest, then it's still not gonna happening. There is not a lot of chances here for them to be forced to go boat, except maybe if Wake Water is there, but I don't think so. Meanwhile, on these game, this is one of the things that I was kind of worried about. Windia monsters are quite no slouch usually, and the oozes are particularly bad. They are reflect magic, so you really cannot just blast through them or hope you survive first round and just blast them. You have to actually play with your weapons, which is both longer than normal fights. You will have a lot of them as well, because how the randomizes monsters is quite interesting. So the monsters are represented by the monsters that are in a dungeon depends on which region they rolled in. So they will usually have a little of every kind of monsters if they have some same kind of, not specificities, but for example, if tree rolled on Foresta, since the Foresta region has green oozes, there will be green oozes in tree. That said, if they roll in their specific region, so for example tree in Windia, they will have exactly the same kind of monsters in the same kind of rooms that they usually have. So here we could see that we have Windia skeletons, where usually there's Windia skeletons, and at the same time there are oozes in the rooms that normally are oozes. So yeah, going 3 when it's in Windia, you know that you will very likely have to fight some oozes, and they are slow. They are pretty slow to fight. So both runners decided to go into the tree. It's, I think, the good play here. There's a lot of density here. What they want right now is, of course, stacking more shards, but they have very little left in terms of what they cannot do. What they are looking for probably are the remaining crests and Wake Water. That's pretty much the only things that can gate them at this point. Since they need 30 shards, if many rolled either in the ledge, on the frozen ledge, it can be a problem for them. It's likely that they can go through, but if they cannot, then they'll have to do other kind of low density or pretty long to reach locations, such as my favorite, the boat. We all like the boat, at least I do. So T is going out. I think he's done with 3, I'm not sure, but I think he is. Meanwhile, Hebinx is still running in. Still having a handful of chests remaining here. I think he got lost a little and came back where he came from. And yeah, T is just heading out, going to his next location, which is probably the next location in Windia, if it's not all battlefields. Oh, and there's mine. So, mine and Wintry Cave. He's going Wintry Cave first. I don't think either runner went into mine. So, we'll see. There's two possible configuration on the two first rooms for Wintry Cave. The first one is the Vanya room, this one being the first, and the other configuration is having the 4 chest room that is a passageway on the first room. It was the second one. It's not really relevant right now because we have claws, we have the claws actually, but when we do not have claws in diving Wintry Cave is very different. So if you get into it and you see that it's just the vanilla first room, you only have 2 chests to get. You can scout another one and it's not really dense. In the meanwhile, if you have the 4 chests, then the 2 chests becomes 6. It's much more worth. As I said right now, it's not really relevant because we have claws and we have bombs, and we see T just not going farther there. Getting out of the tree, getting some little fights here and there. One advantage of being in the Windia region is the fights are very paying in XP. So T is probably looking for XP that way, especially since he did not scout if there was a monster that was accessible in Doom Castle to grind. It's probably not gonna be that much of a problem, but shards count it's going up pretty fast, so he wants to be 15 for Dark King, probably a little higher, because he wants Ruben to have white for Dark King, because I think that's the only reason you'd ever bring Ruben to the Dark King fight with the current companion configuration and spells. Since both brought them, it's interesting to get some of those fights off. One of the reasons he took a Scorpion fight is because you are assured in Scorpion fights, as well as tree fights, not to have any oozes, nor any beholders. So yeah, it's kind of, not, I wouldn't say free, but it's easier to just blast through them with spells. So, more bombs. We saw a Moonhelm, which is not really relevant because we already have Apollo. That's one forced encounter, which is... Those kind of encounters are really feel bad every time, so it's not that he was really forced. Had he never entered that room, wouldn't have had to get it, especially there's no chest behind, so it really feels like a waste. But at the same time, you cannot, if you don't have exit, they didn't have any other choices than just fight it to get out. Meanwhile, we see a Squidites. T going to get their Venus key, and there's Wake. Oh, that's interesting. Alright, that's a nice one. So, as I was saying, there's 2 things that the runners might still be looking for in terms of items. Well, except for the Aegis Shield key, that is... It's stone resistance, it's kind of interesting, but it's not gonna drive them. Hebinx, I should more say both runners are starting to get out of options. So I'm sure that they are looking right now a little more for those items, and those items are Libre Crest, Gemini Crest, and Wakewater. Wakewater being behind Squidite means that Hebinx is gonna have access to the ledge, while T doesn't. I did not see what has been randomized on the ledge, but if there's something really interesting there, then yeah. We haven't seen Bone Dungeon, so I would expect Bone Dungeon to be there. That's not big checks. Yep, so Bone Dungeon's there. It's not that many checks, but it's not that little amount of checks either. So, and we're seeing Hebinx activating both. That is amazing. Is it that gonna happen? Yeah, that's gonna happen. Now I'm proud. You go, Hebinx. Alright, so Hebinx opened boat. I think they haven't found the entrance to boat right now though, so it will depend on where the crests, the remaining crests are. I think that they checked most of the locations that had Mobius crest as an entry. Reminder that the lava dome, I think they didn't clear it completely, I'm not sure. Another reminder that Ice Pyramid also hasn't been cleared completely, so there's still a lot of stuff here and there. And that's not happening. Sad. Infinite sadness. One other nice thing about both is when it's randomized like this, once you find Mac, you can just give him his cap and there's no other monsters anywhere. So it can be fast, it can be not very fast. There's quite a lot of small passageway in both, so forced fights are not that rare. We are gonna see a redive on Ice Pyramid. Hebinx will see if he remembers where the entrance was. I think he doesn't. Oh, he remembered that one. Alright. And there was one chest there that he probably scouted before, so he knew that there was one chest there. If he counted all his rooms. And we'll probably see him go see our favorite snowman. I'm not sure if he will melt the snowman this time, especially since he has Wakewater. I'm not sure if I would do it, even if a red chest is confirmed behind. So it's going pretty well for both runners, I think. If Bone Dungeon is stacked, we're gonna see T having a little of trouble getting up to 30 shards without having to head and go back into Wintry Cave and kill the Squidite. I think that's one of the things that could be dangerous, but we'll see how that plays out. And Snowman guards nothing. Fragment's count right now is very close, 21 to 22. It's really anybody's game right now. I think Bone Dungeon is gonna be the biggest difference, the biggest player here. And of course, maybe both. I keep believing. Of course I do. Hebinx is not going back into Lava Dome, so probably that I missed them full clearing it. I knew that they went early, but yeah. So Is Hebinx gonna do both? Oh, you mean for T, yeah. For sure, T will go into both before going back to Squidite. There is a lot more chance that both will give him what he's looking for if he has to do it. But then again, this is a hard thing to guess right now. Hebinx going to check the first chest here. Getting an axe for his trouble. Not going into Delahan. I'm pretty sure that the claws could stone Delahan right now. And Hebinx going back into P-Tower to get all those checks that were the claws locked before, which was a lot of checks. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't focus more on going Bone Dungeon though. Being in Hebinx's place, knowing that you have the Wakewater behind a boss that I think he's pretty sure that he won't be running it anytime soon, he probably thinks about... I thought that he probably thinks about, okay, I'm gonna try and leverage that the most I can because I already committed at some point by killing the Squidite. One of my biggest chances of having something happening there is the area behind Squidite, which is Bone Dungeon, being stacked. So one thing that is a little not nice here for T is going back into those forced fights in Lava Dome. There's gonna be quite a lot usually, and forced fights, it's in the Foresta region, it's nice when you're level, I'd say 1 to 5 or 6, but afterwards it feels like a slouch and very, very low XP, and it's just a waste of time most of the time. So it's not that interesting to get through that. I'm interested if we're gonna see an Hydra fight. It might happen. Is it happening? It's not happening. So T is double backing, he's hesitating here. Pretty sure that's what he's thinking about is, if I do not find the remaining shards with what I have open right now, I'll need to start and do much less dense stuff such as bosses. Meanwhile, Hebinx has the Bone Dungeon that is open, that is a good option for him. Lava Dome does seem pretty stacked, however, so that's very good news for T. Hebinx, I think, getting lost a little here. Because P-Tower is doing what P-Tower does, which means getting you lost. It's a great place, but since there are many rooms with a lot of branches, it's very easy to get lost. Even in the Vanilla game you could get lost in there, so when everything is shuffled it's bleh. And at the same time there are so many straight paths, like the stairs, that are so long to just go through, and it's really annoying to have and go through them, 3 of them, just to notice that you went back exactly at the same place that you just started, and you're like, I would have skipped on that. So I'm pretty sure that we're gonna see Bone Dungeon here. We are. So that's where we'll know if there's a lot of stuff here, and if the Squidite play will play in his favor. Something about Bone Dungeon, it's a lot of little paths. So there are like 2 rooms, I think, that are hubs with multiple entrances, but the rest is mostly just one entrance to another. So not having exit here is kind of annoying. And there's another here. Both runners extremely close to the 30 shard count. We do know that there's enough for Hebinx in Lavadon if he goes back to get go mode. So I don't think that we'll see him commit into both at this point. Using an encounter to do a little seed dupe, I like that. And there's 2 here. If both of them have shards, he'll be 1 shard away of being able to just be and go. T, meanwhile, is at 28. But he's starting to... I think he'll have to look towards where he's going now. I'm not sure. Oh, he didn't do the rest of Pyramid. He's probably fine then. I'm pretty sure that there were 2 in Pyramid. Eagle Shield. Well, that's not what he wanted, but now we have Hebinx full geared. He has absolutely every defensive option that he should have. One thing that could play in his favor if Dark King or any of the refights are mean enough to spam Petrification. And there's one here. So yeah, Bone Dungeon wasn't that stacked. The Eagle Shield is a nice find, but I doubt that is what will make him win. And there is 1 shard here, and if I remember well, there was one right here as well. So that's gonna put T into go mode. And T is in go. So unfortunately, the Squidite play wasn't required. It was an interesting thing to have. I would have been pretty hype, but overall, T proving up that going for very high density stuff is still the way to go. Now, I am uncertain what T is looking for. He's probably going to Medusa, but... Medusa is not a bad thing to think about. And there's 1 shard here for Hebinx. There's 1 left to go. He's gonna go in Dome, yeah, of course. Hoping that the Megas aren't required. Oh, actually, scratch that. He already has Megas. T doesn't. Yeah, I am a little confused what's happening here on this side. He is going for Medusa, that's for sure, but it's the only thing that remains here. But why would they? Is another interesting stuff. I mean, they have all the spells, most of the resist. T did not get either Gaia Armor and Eagle Shield, if I remember well. So yeah, going back to Medusa, unless I'm forgetting something, is a little weird. Sure, there are seeds here, but we found Firebird already, so we can just buy them. It's not trouble. That's all right. And we're gonna get just here our last shard. There we go. Hebinx is in go mode. He's very likely going back immediately. Yeah, that's right. With Go activated, there's no reason to keep looting. Hebinx is more than comfortable with what he has. He trying to go back into the Windia region. Not sure why either. There's something that he forgot, I'm pretty sure. He might think he needs 31 instead of 30, which blocks him up. That is extremely unfortunate. Going back into Windia, since he did not get the Sun Coin from Floresta, he also didn't go into Floresta either. Okay, that is interesting. Is he going for Jin? I think he's going for Jin now. And not even skipping Jin. So, as a reminder, Hebinx getting that fight right there. I think that he was kind of not happy last time. Oh, ninjas die from a single flare. That's very nice information. So he'll be able to just go through and do a single flare on Skullrus and know that he kills both ninjas. He's kinda low on the seed count though. 5 is... I hope that both Wyvern... Nah, Wyvern is fine. Wyvern is weak to rocks, if I remember well, so that should be fine. Meanwhile, he finished the Jin. So yeah, knowing that ninjas die from one hit on that fight against Skullrus, you can just know and just blast through. Hebinx decided not to rely on D-Class proc. Skullrus is pretty squishy most of the time, so it's fine. Golem is gonna be a little annoying, I think, because he resists flare. He doesn't resist flare. No, flare was on the water, so he doesn't resist flare indeed. For a moment I thought that it randomized on Earth. And we have a Ruben taking a nap here. T going back into Squidite, getting Wake Water. He's very likely gonna go in Aquaria afterwards, open Bone Dungeon, and just... Still, that is one hell of a detour here. And it's extremely unfortunate. I am being a little annoying here. That's where Tristan would have been pretty neat, because he could just have chain paralyzed it. Alright, we're through Golem. Next is Hydra. Not getting back spells on Ben? I'm not sure about that. He's probably relying on Ruben's flare, and since he's very low in seeds, he has to be economical about that. I kinda understand, but probably that at this point he should just have duped some. That said, that flare is doing massive work. And overall, Wyvern didn't roll extremely bad either. T getting in Aquaria, he's gonna go into Bone Dungeon. And we have chicken legs left. There is gonna do full damage against this one as well, so it's fine. Hitting with a blind that does nothing. Unless Zoo has some very, very mean stuff on him. I don't think that should be extremely problematic, although, well, Paralyze is Paralyze. Ruben's best ailment, alongside Confusion. He's pretty good at staying confused and throwing that morning star in your face. One of Ruben's favorites. But yeah, except for that, Zo doesn't seem too bad. Some sleep, but that won't kill Bitten. Weakness to bombs as well, which is interesting. He's still looking for something. He's gonna get rewarded from that fight with Charm, which is irrelevant, as well as Aegis Shield, which isn't... I mean, it's good, but it definitely didn't... It was not worth all that time. And here's why we brought Ruben all this time, so he could do white on Dark King. Dark King rolling Paralyze early, that's unfortunate. Oh, it was not a Charm, it was Charm Claw. Sorry. Misremembered. Phase 1 was papery, at least, so we might not see any more never mind. Going for all-out damage. Hebinx probably thinking that T, since he hasn't finished, must be extremely close. And T is at 32 now, and he's going out. So yeah, I think that he thought it was a 32 shards run. Which explains why he had to do all those other bosses, but it was a 30 run. We still haven't found either crests, either of the two other crests either, which is interesting. I'm not sure where they could be at this point, except on some very precise bosses like Hydra, for example, or Dullahan. Hebinx showing up his skills at handling Dark King. He seems to be not that bad, that Dark King. And he's exactly at the level he wants Ben to be for that precise attack that he's hitting, because he can take 2 of them. Ruben also can take 2 of that one, so being able to have a little more HP than what 2 shots you is nice, because it lets you have a lot more damage when it happens. And since he committed to getting Ruben and keeping Ruben, that's what you want, because you want him to be able to dish out damage the most you can. And we're up into phase 4. Unless anything happens that is weird, but I think that we saw most of Dark King moves by now. I don't think anything can really wipe Hebinx at this point, unless it just starts getting something extremely rude. Meanwhile, T getting up the Doom Castle. So in this flag set, most of the time the expected time you want on most seeds are the amount of shards you have plus 10. That's, I'd say, the mean. Oh, and that's a crit. Please don't do that again. I do hope I'm not gonna commentator's curse Hebinx on that one. And time. So this is Hebinx game, which means that we are gonna see a game 3. Which is gonna be immediately after, unless I'm mistaken. He getting through his Wyvern, gonna head up on the next. It really feels bad for T. Honestly, he was a little ahead, not that much ahead, but quite still a little back then. Hebinx had to go back into Dome. Dome paid much more in terms of shards that Bone Dungeon did. And I don't think that I saw any paralyze anything on the refights or on Dark King. So the Shield wouldn't do that much of a difference there. Actually, bar that. It's extremely rare that the defense is actually relevant on those defensive gears, but had Hebinx not have the Aegis Shield, he would have been two-shot by some of Dark King's moves. That said, 40, since he's 2 level higher, that would not have been a problem. Like, not at all. So, yeah. Still, a win is a win. Hebinx played beautifully there with very good combat. Knowing that MQ is a lot about triage most of the time, and just knowing when to go in and when to heal. Ruben being weak to absolutely everything bar fire also makes it a little more, I wouldn't say interesting, but you know that when you're going in with Ruben, it can go pretty bad. If DK rolls kind of fast, Ruben will not outspeed DK most of the time. He's one of the slowest in there. He does not have such a great pool of HP either. He's at equality with Phoebe. He has a little more than Kylie, but Tristan is our bulky boy here. And no resistance to any status element really gets him down when those elements run. On DK or on the refights. It wasn't that bad here, but it can go pretty wrong. So we should have a pretty fast kill on Dark King now, already in phase 4. The extra HP that he has lets him dish a lot of damage quite fast. The only thing that could be pretty bad for him is random crit, which happened to Hebinx, so we must not discard the probability and try to go kind of not too fast and not too greedy, I say. It's not because you're in phase 4 that the next spell will kill him. It shouldn't take a lot of spells, but still take some. And if there's some random crit happening, it could be a problem. So there's probably 1 or 2 spells left. It was 1, and T is done with this game. Amazing match. Great routing from both runners. Just as I thought, it was an extremely different run from what we saw on game 1. This game actually had us check a lot of mini bosses. So yeah, there's 30 shards that rolled there, but it could have been a 32 shards run, and in that sense, what T did would have had to be done in that case, either this or both. So it shows that it's really weird having to route those. On this, game 3 is gonna start in 6 minutes. I'll be taking a little break from the commentary booth for a couple minutes, so I'll be right back with you soon. Thank you for watching, and see you in 6 minutes. Welcome back everyone, so we are ready for game 3 of Hebinx versus T. The last two games we had were pretty great in their sense, a little unfortunate on game 2 for T's side, but we'll see what happens in game 3. As far as shuffled resists and companions go, this is gonna be an amazing seed. We have fire that has been rolled on air, so half the game is weak to air, so flare is gonna be a ton of damage. We have Earth that was randomized on bombs, so that's our damage against Dark King, because Dark King resists air. It's one of the only character that not monster but enemy that resists air, so Hurt is gonna complement that. As far as status elements go, stone wasn't stone, so that's not really existing. We won't see a lot of use of decals if we ever see them. And finally, as for companions go, Kylie has interesting early things. So, well, she has air at level 7, which is interesting. Tristan, since Paralysis rolled on blind, Tristan Paralysis could be very interesting in the refight. So, as a reminder, all of the enemies, all of the refights are weak to blind, bar the chicken. So Za would still be a problem. What is problematic with Tristan is he gets Meteor at 28. We probably won't see that happen. So if they bring Tristan, it's gonna be for triage and healing on the Dark King. But that's about it. Which is not what you want to have most of the time. Meanwhile, Phoebe, while starting a little late, first very good spell is at level 10, it's Exit, it's still not damage. She gets Cure at 14, and then gets both Meteor and Flare at 18. So she's gonna be an absolutely big powerhouse. It's gonna be amazing once she gets there. Exit is extremely nice. And finally, for Ruben, we have Exit book at level 2, which is amazing because they start with Ruben. They'll be able to abuse that Exit book extremely early. But he has no damage whatsoever until level 11, where he gets White and Meteor at 18. So, going back on the game now, we're looking at both runners going through Volcano. I'm sure that those of you that have listened, have watched many of those games or ran those seeds up to now aren't very confused about what's happening in there. Volcano is almost always randomized in Foresta. It's dense, it's easy to get through, doesn't even need Exit for it to be kind of efficient to just route. So yeah, that's almost always gonna happen quite early. With that, T is done with Volcano, and now he has to think what to do. He's going into the Wintry Cave, he gets Gemini Crest, and that's the one configuration that I was talking about. So, looking at it, if it was the other starting room configuration, he could have had 6 chests to check, which is quite a lot. And very interesting as far as density goes. With that configuration, he only has 2. Going into P-Tower and being rewarded with Exit, which, as a reminder, is one of the best spell in the game. That being said, the difference between having Exit on 1 character or 2 character is very, very limited. So, since they already had a Ruben with Exit, it's not that great. However, that means that they'll be able to switch on Kylie if they find her. So one of the things with the current companion spells is that they don't have much good damage spell early on. Phoebe has Thunder, which isn't great early. Tristan has nothing until 18, and Ruben has nothing until 11. However, Kylie has Hero at 7, so that could be something interesting to consider. Is it worth losing White at 11 from Ruben? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. So we'll see how that plays out. Maybe both runner will stick with Ruben, even though he has not the greatest accuracy with his hacks, not his hacks, but his Morningstar, and not great resist either. Whereas Kylie having Petrify resist, he still has White, and White is a pretty good spell to have. Plus I'm going with the giving Phoebe. To be honest, Phoebe is great, but early on she's not that great. I don't think I would exchange either Ruben or Kylie for Phoebe until a little later. Or if I have a good opportunity in Doom Castle for a grind, that could be a thing. We'll see. T-saving Norma. Mandatory. So yeah, with that in mind, and with those companions, I think that right now checking whenever possible the Dome Castle for an early ninja grind makes a little sense. If they can grind it kind of early and have Phoebe on amazing power quite early, it's a grind that could be extremely worth. At the same time, gotta be careful, cause 20 shards are quite expeditive seeds. So grinding too much might mean that overall you'll be a little late on the rest. So we're saying a Mobius crest, that's 2 crests of the 3 for both runners, both are heading into Fireberg. Foresta was not really interesting in terms of shards or resistance. We have a noble armor here that resists water, which is nice, and as well as poison, that is alright, I guess. More of a quality of life stuff than anything most of the time. Suncoin here, so we have Windia region open as well. Only thing that they really need to have at this point, Jumbo Bombs and Megas back to back. Megas are nice. Right now, seeing that, Kylie is much less interesting now. Because if Iroh would kill mobs quite easily, bombs will probably be able to handle both most of mobs early on. He is Shield and Foresta, that's a great find. Reminder that Aegis Shield gives both Petrify resistance, which is very nice, and as well as Paralyze resistance. This is extremely nice, especially right now they have Ruben. Ruben does not resist Paralyze. Actually, no companion at those levels does resist Paralyze, so if it's required, Ben can just defense strats. Finding the Charmed Claw as well, that's a claw, I mean, better than nothing. Getting some seeds here. We're gonna see both runners get the chest. Again, this is a very back-to-back play. Both runners are in the same room, going very fast. Checking the crest, which is a very good idea, I think, on Hebinx side. Ending up in Windia, that's part of what you want to see. What he's looking for right now is an access to Aquaria region. Once he gets that access, it becomes very interesting because you have access to all of 4 regions. It's extremely unlikely that we will not be able from there to get the 20 shards. And Hebinx being into Aquaria, confirmed, he has access to absolutely every region right now. He shouldn't be too much looking for gears much at 20. He probably is able to get that. Oh yeah, indeed, Possum, I did say that no characters, no companions had the paralyze resist at those levels. There's a reason why I said at those levels. They both are level 11, but indeed, once Ben gets 18, Phoebe would be 23, and with level 23, Phoebe gets a bunch, not that much, maybe just the Eater Shield, but the Eater Shield is an amazing piece of gear. It gives 5 to all of her stats, as well as Petrify, not Petrify, but Drain Resist, which is sometimes nice, but more importantly, Paralyze Resist. So thanks for saying that, Possum. Indeed, that's true. At 23, there is one companion with Paralyze Resist. And we have a D-Claw here for Hebinx. I don't think he really needed that at that point, but I'm pretty sure that he's happy having it. One of the downside of having D-Claw here is he won't be able to use Paralyze on all those monsters with the claws. It's not that big a deal, honestly. I don't think it will be that big a deal, but it's something to keep in mind. In that circumstance, if they do not need the D-Claw to get the amount of shards that they can get, Charm Claw can actually be better at getting those refights over. See, heading into Windray region now. He hasn't found the crest, the warp into Aquaria. That's something to remember. I do not think it should be that much of a problem. He's probably gonna scout them once he needs to, at any rate. But that's something to keep in mind. Also, he is not incredibly high level, and Windia monsters are extremely strong early on. So it could be a problem to get through. But at the same time, it's amazing XP. So if he does get through them, just like that fight, well, that's an assured level. And that will be like that until like level 12 or 13, so getting some pretty good gear here in the dome though. Getting the locket as well as the Apollo helm, that's pretty stacked. Some sky shards as well. Oh, there's stuff in that dome. Meanwhile, it feels like it's kind of empty on the tree side. You hate to see it. At the same time, sure, it might be kind of empty, but it's quite easy to get through it. Also, not having a sword is extremely unfortunate for Hebinx right now, because the sword would permit him to go much farther in the tree. Meanwhile, he does have a sword. He has the X-Call in bonus. That's just better sword. Doesn't seem to be a lot of stuff on the frozen ledge. It's interesting though that 3 did roll into frozen ledge. Now Hebinx doesn't even need the wake water to get access there. He has done the checks that he had to do and is moving on. As far as shard counts go, Hebinx is pretty close to T with 11, T having 12. Quite a lot of difference of routing here. Both have extremely good reasons to do what they are doing. I really like that. It shows how much low amount of shards count make people do extremely different things. So Hebinx is double backing on the fact that he's in Aquaria right now. He can do most of those checks quite easily, and his aim is I do what I can here and never coming back here. Meanwhile, T, not having found Aquaria and having cleared most of Firebird region, just went all out. Alright, I have seeds now, I have some kind of decent damage, I'll just go and roll over those monsters in Windia in order to get level. The downside of it is if you do not manage to kill them extremely fast or extremely efficiently, it's gonna be a problem. Hebinx finding Phoebe, that is an amazing thing. So right now Phoebe is not that good. We have the Cat Claws, which is a downgrade from the Dragon Claws that we have. So reminder, Phoebe does not have any kind of amazing damage until she gets level 18. That said, if I'm not mistaken, Hebinx does have Flare. I'm not sure, I know that he does. And Flare rolled on Wind, which means that it's gonna be extremely easy to handle like a bunch of those enemies. Like most of the birds monsters are weak to wind, those magicians in Windy are weak to wind, a lot of monsters in Windy are weak to wind, and it's amazing XP. So Flare there is absolute power to get through that. Once they do get level not 18 but it's 13, Phoebe will be full, but not full power, but she will have some very good spells. So this is almost certainly happening. Hebinx probably just thought, that's fine, I have enough damage on my current character, so it might take some time, but I will eventually manage to get her at that level of power, and when it happens, well, she'll be a powerhouse. Meanwhile, we just find Sun Coin on Hebinx side. So that's access to Aquaria region, which he already had. He just got also Gaia armor, which is a pretty nice armor to find. Gaia armor, they had already Noble, so Noble resists poison as well as water. Meanwhile, Gaia adds Wind as well as Sleep. We saw in game 1 that resist to Sleep, while not that amazing, can do quite some difference. Going through that Flame Rust. Flame Rust is the first boss in that game, well, the first real boss in that game, so went down extremely fast. It does seem like that. I think that they are aiming very different setups indeed. Hebinx wants to have that Phoebe with full power, and T might be doubling on Ruben. They have scouted different stuff, and those stuff did pay pretty well in terms of gear. So will we see Cupid and Apollo Elm on Hebinx side? Well, that depends whether or not he decides to go into Lavadon. It could be something, but I'm not sure he will. Meanwhile, T still going through that lava dome. It's quite a pretty long trek, for sure. Steel shield, this is useless, especially when you already have the Aegis shield. So yeah, that's not great on Hebinx side. Hebinx never went back to Foresta region up to now, because he full cleared for the Aquaria region. Therefore, he takes some time to go back there, do some pretty fast checks on Wintry Cave. Which is something that T already did. Something else, as you probably noticed, T, with all the fights of the Winzia region that he's forced to get through, is at level 13 now. So once he gets Phoebe, if he does get her, she's gonna be full power from the start. Alright, so looking at what each runner have right now is quite interesting. They have quite a high amount of shards. They do not need a lot more. So in Hebinx's head right now at 16, he must be thinking, okay, I never went to India. There's the lava dome there. If I decide to go into that, it's almost certain that I'll be able to get that 20 shard count. At the same time, there are a lot of monsters in the way oftentimes, and he's deciding to go right in. So his aim right now is very likely, well, of course getting his 4 shards, but also some XP not to rely on a grind before Doom Castle. Meanwhile, T already did most of those checks, and he's probably already set up as far as level goes. And then getting the Apollo M and the Cupid Locket on Hebinx's side, he is full geared, he cannot really ask for more in terms of defensive options. Yeah, and there's the life as well. Hebinx definitely need levels at this point. He knows it, and Winzia region makes a lot of sense in that sense, because it has good XP and most of the monsters are nice setup. I'll explain that afterwards. So he has most of the Windia region monsters are weak to wind. Oh, he doesn't have flare though. Okay, that might be a little harder to get through. But it's amazing levels and amazing XP for him. Meanwhile, what we saw T do is get his bombs to 0. Why did he do that? Because it enables some glitch, as you just saw, that lets you just use bombs to backdoor behind Jin. So it lets you see what is behind Jin. And there is a force encounter there, that's a little unfortunate. At the same time, those are all weak to flare, but he didn't do it. Probably that he's out of charges on bend, which is a little sad. And there's the flare. And now, getting flare for Hebinx means that he can melt absolutely everything here. Which means that he will want to get some encounters up. Those ninjas, between other things, are both weak. They are weak to thunder, so they are both weak to air and fire. Gargoyles are air and water. Sorry. Gargoyles are also weak to wind, so this is extremely easy XP for him as well. T at 17 shards. He's pretty close to it, but I think that he's wondering where to go now. He cleared all of Windia. He doesn't have access in Aquaria. We know that Aquaria is in Bone Dungeon, I think. Not sure. But I don't think that it was locked behind the Sun coin, so the Sand coin. Or well, Sand coin locked behind Sand coin. In the Aquaria region, I mean. And then we have Hebinx in Go mode. He got everything that he could ever believe to be nice in the Lava Dome. So he's full geared, he has life. The only thing that he does not have, and is important, is levels. He at least needs one more level. Like, there's no question there. If he doesn't get another level, Phoebe will not have any... Okay, he was looking for a fight in order to dupe some seeds. My guess would be that he's gonna try and use the refights to get Phoebe to full power. He has exit, so he can exit the first boss and immediately after or before flare the ninjas. That should give him his level to be able to get Phoebe full power for the other refights. But still, this is pretty low level to head into that. We'll see how that plays. There is a farm here that is possible. There's always one ninja in that fight, which is interesting. And we saw earlier, I'm not sure. I think we saw earlier that ninjas are one shot with flare. Oh, they are weak to wind, so of course they will. That's also interesting to scout that for next battle, because Skullrus is accompanied by two of those ninjas. Meanwhile, we are seeing T getting into Ice Pyramid to get the couple last shards that he needed. Found those. So he found his access to Aquaria. Having access to Aquaria from the warp tile that was just there, also found the Ice Pyramid, so he could get what he needed there. Not going back immediately into Foresta in order to buy some seeds. It's the safe play to do. That's a very good thing to do, I think. Here, the biggest difference, I think, between Hebinx and T are levels. Okay, T is at a much better place level-wise, but gear-wise, he misses the Gaia armor. We'll see where that gets him. So we are seeing some exit strats here, and those exits unfortunately missing, as well as some pretty bad moves from Golem. I think the dogs aren't too bad though, so he should be able to get through that one this time. It was a little unfortunate for the last wipe. Attacks. Saying something that is extremely relevant here, you're right, T right now is at 18, which makes Phoebe 23. That said, he never found Phoebe. Had he went into the Aquaria region before, he probably would have found her, but he just went back as soon as he got his required amount of shards in the Ice Pyramid, so he stuck with Ruben. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing that's we haven't really talked about, sure, Phoebe is amazing this seed, but what makes her even more amazing is she has Cure. So In the original game, of course, she does have it. It's not all companions that do, but and with the Chaos spellbook, companions can not have Cure. And Cure is amazing as far as triage go. If the Dark King rolls not amazing, he can just keep Phoebe on auto in order to adapt whether he wants a life or if a cure to cure both characters is relevant. So that would be something that happens. For example, if Dark King one-shots Ben, if Dark King one-shot Ben's and has an AoE while being faster than Phoebe. So we're seeing here that Dark King is indeed sometimes faster than Phoebe. So auto strats are, I think we're gonna see some nice auto strats here, unless he rolls pretty bad moves. First attack he did wasn't extremely scary. Yeah, this Phoebe is absolutely goated. She's so strong, it's not even close. And we have quite some papery DK. This is interesting. This is gonna be a close race, I think. Phoebe not having her Ether Shield means that she does not resist sleep. I'm not sure if it's on Ether Shield or on her armor though. Oh, and taking a wipe. That happens. And now it's gonna be very close between T and Hebinx, I think. Phoebe's damage is better, but T's position in terms of levels might play in his favor there. And all of this comes back to the very big difference they decided to route into. T decided, okay, I'll need levels at some point, so as soon as he could, he just decided to head into India. Meanwhile, Hebinx just thought that, yeah, I'll just do what I can in Fireberg, found Aquaria doing so, and just went, hey, well, I'm gonna just do that while I'm there. But that's why he's lacking in levels right now. So what I think will do the difference here is, can Hebinx get through this fight of Dark King without wiping? Because he has better firepower than Ruben has. That said, if he keeps dying, that firepower will not help him. And we have a Dark King with sleep, which is what I said a little earlier. Gaia armor can be pretty important at some point, because if Dark King right now decides to keep both of their characters sleep or do some weird shenanigans with sleep, it could get T into a wipe. It's also extremely annoying because right now Dark King outspeeds. So once the sleep, he does the sleep first, and then when it triggers, prevents the character from doing anything on that turn that you. And here he goes. This is extremely close. And time for Hebinx. He, I think, probably has like 1 or 2 spells to cast at this point to win. Well, it certainly wasn't one. And is it dying now? Probably. Nope. Oh, need a little more. Okay, that phase 4 was kind of bulky. For a phase 4, at least. And time. Oh, wow. Okay. That was an amazing series. Not gonna lie.
Keep trying to get me into the Duckling program. Oh, hey.
Oh,
Hey,
hello,
yeah.
Hebinx.
Hello.
Hi.
We are joined by Hebinx and T. Great games to both of you. Do you mind if we go back on each match, or do you want to focus more on the last two because I was more there? I said it like that.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't
All right.
mind. I won't be able to remember everything from the last two matches because my brain resets
Yeah.
like RAM. So
Yeah. All right, we'll focus on the last one for now. Well, great games for both of you, and I'll say it, that was an amazing series. On all of those games, you were so close to each other. It was extremely hype to watch. Thank you for giving us this. It was really amazing. Seriously, it was, and you could show up and show off a lot of different strats, a lot of different things in the meta that changed a lot, because game 1 was low shard count and game 2 was very high shard count. So I'll start with this. We saw you two use quite different routes on game 1 and 3 and quite similar routes on game 2, which had higher shard counts. One of the things I wondered was the choice of killing Crab and Squidite, in your case, Hebinx, early on. So, do you have something to say about that?
yeah, so in my brain, when I go up against Crab and Squidite, the dungeons are so small, and there's a chest under both of them, and usually they go down in like 1 or 2 turns, like 2 turns max in these flags. So I just think of it as like they're not necessarily bosses, they're just another random encounter or another enemy encounter that I can usually just power through, check a chest, and then hopefully get something good. That being said, I won't do that for like Medusa or Ghidra or anybody else because I know that their HP sets can lean way heavier and I can't get through them in like 1 or 2 turns typically.
All right.
Yeah, that's a reasonable point. It depends on how strong you are when you get there, but yeah.
All right, so we saw something kind of unfortunate on game 2. So T, I think you thought that you needed 32 shards.
Oh,
was it 30? Oh my god.
It was just 30.
It was 30.
Oh shit. So, okay, that explains the time difference. Oh shit, I didn't look at you.
It made the game extremely exciting. It made the game extremely exciting in that sense because Hebinx, unlike you, did Squidite early. So once he could, he just went Squidite, found the Wake Water, and then we saw some quite divergence out of the of your path.
Oh my god.
In my head, it was, okay, it's gonna pay out if Bone Dungeon and what is behind Wake Water has a lot of stuff, and he cannot get to 30 without it. But you managed to get 30, but not more. So when you started, running Medusa and the other bosses, we saw Medusa, we saw Jin, we saw Squidite, and then you found the Wake Water, went to get your last shards there, and then go.
Oh my god.
It was extremely unfortunate because before that, I think that you got to 30 like maybe 1 minute before, very, very close to each other. It would have been an amazing last stretch of a race at that point. And when we saw you just go through everywhere in order to get those 2 shards that weren't required, it was a little unfortunate.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. don't know why I thought it was 32. I actually don't know. It's stupid. It's really. Oh my god. Yeah, I lost these last 2 charts. It was insane how much time I wasted on that.
Yeah.
That explains the time difference. I was a bit shocked about the big time difference at the end, but yeah, that explains it.
Yeah, it was extremely close up to that point. Very nice race still. Going back into game 3 now, the companion's choice and shuffle resist was extremely interesting in here. So I'd like to pick your brains a little on what did you expect of the seed knowing those spells. So it was kind of hard to get a good companion early to get AoE. Ruben was the only one doing a good job at it, but Phoebe being that strong at level 18, Hebinx, you switch out of Ruben into Phoebe before she had her spells. Why did you go with Phoebe at that point, knowing that you knew where she was? You could just come back to get her and still get damage in the meanwhile, and what you expected from the seed from the start, companion-wise.
So, looking at the seed pre-vet, I was looking at it and I'd basically narrowed down between the weaknesses and the resistances that Phoebe and Ruben were my 2. And I was like, if I start with either of them, fantastic. If I get either of them, great. That's how I'm going to roll, and that's what I'm going to roll with. Thankfully, RNG started us with Ruben, who was probably the best one to start with anyways, since he got white at 11. And then you can blame my decision making on the drug that is adrenaline running through my brain from going back to back to back and thinking I'm behind the whole time. So literally, match 3 was a blur of impulse decisions that I wouldn't normally make. So like, when you saw me reflexively just step on Crest and say, "We ball now," that's because I was just like, let's go wild. Let's go as fast as we can. Let's not look back, and then let's make the plays we make and hope it works out. Honestly, I wouldn't have even picked up Phoebe had I not been enticed by that red chest in Life Temple. If that had been a brown box, I'd have faded her because I wouldn't have bothered to go down and look. But since I had to go that route to pick up that chest, and Phoebe just happened to be there, I lucked into her. No pun intended. Like, she was just there, and I got lucky.
All right. And on your part, T, you stuck with Ruben all the way. You didn't find Phoebe because you went into the Aquaria region quite late just to complete those 20 shards. What did you expect from the companions at the start? And
at the start, it looks pretty clear. Kaylee has a decent early game, so having her early would have been okay. But for the mid and late game, it was clear that either Ruben or Phoebe has to be it, and you have to find one of those as quickly as possible, especially since both have exit at a rather early level. So that was the goal for the seed. And when we started with Ruben, it was like, looking for Phoebe because the late game was a bit better, or is a bit better. It's also very convenient to have the partner with the cure spell for the Dark King fight, so you can auto him to heal your characters. But yeah, I looked around a bit, but it was also pretty clear very fast that it would be a short seed, so I didn't want to pay too much resources onto just finding Phoebe, or too much time. So yeah, then I went with Room, which was okay.
All right. Ruben was more than okay in that seed. Despite him not having many resistances and all, it still paid off. Okay.
Yeah, having
Another
the sleep
thing-
resistance would have been great for the Dark King fight, but yeah.
Oh yeah, the lack of Gaia.
You
hurt
didn't
so
have
bad, I'm
like
sorry.
Gaia armor either.
Yeah, no Gaia armor, and Phoebe would have had sleep resistance too, so that was a bit unfortunate.
It was actually the complete opposite of game 1, where Hebinx didn't have sleep resistance and you did, T, and is maybe what made the difference between T winning game 1. So Yeah, great games. Another thing on game 3, I want to know. Both of you took very different decisions in routing. Hebinx, you talk about a little about that, how you just went into Fireberg and you were rolling with the flow. T, you decided to not skip, but do what you could in Fireberg that was kind of dense, and then head immediately to Windia. I would like to know what was your reasoning behind that.
I wanted to avoid going to Windia at that point, actually. So I tried. I tried my hardest to get everything out of Fireberg that was reasonably doable in a decent amount of time, because it's really having to play the big dungeons in Windia is just sucks, especially at an early level. And we didn't have that many enemies in Fireberg, so I couldn't really level up there. So I knew if I'm stuck at the normal fights in Windia, it will take a ton of time. So I tried to avoid that. But yeah, it didn't pay off. Really, I had to go to Lavadom anyways. At rather low level, and yeah, some of these fights took quite a lot of time.
It's still not that bad because you got kind of lucky on the flare placement that was early on Lavadome. So you could, at the moment that you had flare, that was, oh, okay, now I can just flare everything in existence with Ben in that region most of the time. But yeah, you did take quite some time on the Lavadome, which Hebinx didn't take as much time early, but it did give you a huge difference in levels. So Hebinx headed up, I think, at level 12 into
13.
the refights. No, 30. You got the first fight. There was a first fight in Doom Castle, which was a little lucky, but well, there's often one, to be fair. Meanwhile, T, when you got into the refights, I think you were already 18, so you caught up quite a lot of time in the refights with the levels that you had. But at the same time, Hebinx having Phoebe really helped him out in terms of raw damage, because Phoebe in that seed was a powerhouse.
Yeah,
all right,
and
go ahead.
I actually didn't want to be that overleveled. I knew I took too many fights in Lavadome, but I had to, because all the enemies were just in the way. And yeah, that might be one of the reasons why I was behind at the end a few seconds. Well, but yeah, at that point, when I committed to Lavadome once, I think I took an extra fight or two because I exited out when I shouldn't. But it was really, and it gave me the impression I had from the Windia Lavadome that it's a huge time sink, especially if you get so many enemies in the way.
Yeah, I try to avoid Windia in these flag sets.
Yeah, I agree. In that it just had not really anywhere to go anymore. So yeah, was a bit unfortunate.
Yeah. In this flag set, Windia has the advantage if you can go through them. It has the advantage of the XP, but
we had the access to Aquaria through the teleporter, and I didn't check it before going into Lavadome. That was maybe the mistake here.
Yep, that's where we had the biggest divergence in both of your routing. Made the game very interesting because you routed extremely differently, but still were about at the same pace in terms of gear and shards. All right, I think we'll be closing quite soon enough. One question, Hebinx, the classic one. You will be moving against Langshin on next round. Any thoughts about that?
About the same thoughts as I had going up against T. Being perfectly honest, it's none of the matches in this tournament are free. My heart will probably be pumping the whole time because everybody in this round 1 of the tournament. I wouldn't normally like. It's just a really tough matchup. Like, everybody's such a tough matchup. So, I mean, getting anybody, that competitiveness starts to build up in me, and my adrenaline gets going, and I just get in go mode and try to go. So I'm looking forward to formally matching up against Lanxian. I don't think I've beaten any of his times when he's posted them in the the seed report room, but that being said, I have not been very active lately. Just a ton of stuff happening IRL. So we'll see, come race time, and I'm looking forward to the match, win or lose. Like, I'm so happy to play against everybody in this this bracket. So the matches I get are great, and I'll play it as it lies.
Amazing. So yeah, the round of 3 is gonna be extremely stacked this year. It's gonna be amazing. All right, so closing comments. We'll start with T.
Yeah. Thank you for organizing it. Thank you for creating the randomizer in itself at first, Walton. Thank you to Speed Gaming and Final Fantasy Randomizer for hosting our streams all the time. And thanks to Hebinx for giving me a chance to play him again. Last time we had the finals 2 years ago, and it was also an amazing match. So this time he had the advantage, and I hope he shows another great game in the next round. It will be hard against Lanxian, because I personally think Lanxian is maybe the big underdog here that can challenge for the top place, but I think Hebinx has everything he needs to beat him still. So will be a great match.
Thank you. We'll continue with Hebinx. Closing comments.
First of all, thank you, T, for the very flattering words, and I will always, no matter how far I make it in this bracket, will always bring my best. So y'all can look forward to more of these wild matches. Let's be sure of that. I want to say thank you, Artea, for hopping in the booth last minute. I know our match schedule was a little hard to work around because it was like literally right after the work day. So thank you for jumping in when you did and being able to commentate games 2 and 3. Again, as always, shout out to Ham, without whom we wouldn't even have the randomizer, but also being the man behind the scenes, setting up a lot of these matches and proctoring the races and rolling the seeds and doing a lot of the heavy lifting with the tournament proper. I can't thank him enough. Shout outs to all of our participants. This has been the smoothest tournament as an admin I've ever had the pleasure of working with so far. Everybody's been really, really good about communicating with each other, setting up their races, getting in their times, getting everything scheduled. It's been fantastic. I will use the spotlight real quick to just remind everybody that as we go through hurricane season, just keep aware of the forecast. If something comes up and you have a match scheduled, please communicate with the admins. I think we can all have an act of Mother Nature as a buy for rescheduling your match. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Shout outs to ffmqrando.net. If you haven't already, join the community. There's a link on our community Discord on the left-hand side on the sandwich menu. Click the link there, join the general chat, check out the new player room, say hi. I think all of our champions, like tournament champions past and our tournament participants, are pretty active in the Discord. So wave and say hi and pick our brains. I'm more than happy to share the information and the love. And I look forward to the next match.
Thank you, both of you. All right, so we're gonna close here. Thanks you to both runners for the amazing show that you just gave us. It was, I'm saying amazing, but I'm just at loss for words for how it was hype. It was really close games, and it was really interesting to see. Thank you for for the restream, and well done for the randomizer. On that, we will be closing here. My name was Artea for the FFMQ randomizer. Please, we will have some more games later today, unless I'm when were there? So at 9-10 p.m. probably there should be on the Speed Gaming 5, we will have the 3 games of Fried Potato versus Ultima Strike. So I hope that I will see all of you there. Thank you for being there and watching this with us. On this, I will take my leave and wish you a very good end of day.